The biggest news story of the week is our Cayenne manual sale.
Yeah.
I say that because it was covered on some news organizations.
Every single person who's into cars texted me and sent me this and wanted to know what the heck
Hoovy
happened.
was texting me. We sold. All right, here's what happened. I was in Palm Springs. I'm driving back from Palm Springs, and I get this text. This manual Cayenne is going crazy. And we have this jet green manual Cayenne on the site, 2014, and it sold in the end after, what, 45 minutes of bidding?
Yeah.
Was it our longest ever?
No, but it was close.
For $125,500. Now, I want to cover this as a news story for a few reasons. Number one, this is probably a record price for a manual Cayenne.
Yeah.
Well, you
think
say
it
that,
is.
but there were, when they were new, some people equipped them to about this. There were a few out there that have this level of spec.
Imagine.
It was generally agreed when I worked at Porsche that the manual Cayennes were typically equipped more like S's than bases, but there were some people who went crazy
Do you
with
know
specs.
what MSRP was on this specific one?
63.
64, yeah.
Okay, so there's that.
Yeah.
Probably an all-time manual Cayenne record.
Yeah.
And then there was also, it's an unbelievable situation. I want to be clear. These manual Cayennes, we've talked before on this podcast about how they have been selling for more and more.
Yep.
But that was like 50,000,
50,
60 maybe.
60 would have been high in my mind.
Very high,
For a general manual Cayenne. Now, this particular one was unusual. This particular one is jet green.
Good call.
The vast majority of these were silver black, you know. But green was offered on the Cayenne, and so apparently people did it. And it was also pretty low miles. Some miles were like in the 60s.
Yeah.
Most of these were bought to be driven, and so were driven.
Yep.
And when we see them come on the site, they often have 120,000 miles, 130. Not that that's used up, but you're not going to pay top dollar for a car at that mileage level. And obviously the fact it was a manual had some cool options, like you can see the wood trim with the dual little things there.
And Premium Plus package, you know.
It was a nice car. RS Spider wheels, which are the best looking wheel on that Cayenne. It was a nice car. And it's a 14, which is the final model year that the manual Cayenne was offered. Nonetheless, $125,500 is a lot of money. Now, there was a lot of speculation, as there is whenever there's one of these sales, on our auction site or on one of the others. We won't name names. That, you know, it's not real or this or that. But this car did transact.
Yep.
I know the seller personally. I haven't talked to him in a long time, but he sells cars in Fort Worth. He sells on our site. He sells a bunch of stuff. Nothing's ever gone crazy like this for him before. No. He was as shocked as we were. The car transacted on a different auction site.
Years ago,
a different one for a lot less. Something to consider. But it's a special car, and these manual Cayennes have become more special. I will also say that not only was the high bidder legit, he followed through and bought the car and paid for it, but the second bidder, we Googled that person's name. That person is also legit. These people were not in any sort of weird...
This was a true battle.
It was a true battle for a car that you know you're never going to find again. And a lot of the internet commenters are, oh, I can't believe it. Well, let me tell you something. If you had $50 million and you were a Porsche enthusiast and you really wanted the ultimate Porsches, you could look at this and say, this was the most unusual example of a special Porsche. These people are willing to pay $6 million for a 19 Spider because it's white. I mean, that's even crazy. I watched those results, and that's way crazier to me than this. Trust me. But it happens, and weird things like this happen when there are cars that are really, really desired and really hard to find.
It's tough because you can't. We've had many manual Cayennes, all the manual Cayennes ever built, probably at this point, submitted to us as a result.
How many manual Cayennes?
We're about to have every single
we will
one
have
built
it.
submitted.
Pull it up, Kenan. Pull it up.
The
Kenan.
reality is that this is not necessarily a replicable result, right? Like they're not all worth $125,000. Maybe no other is worth $125,000.
Oh no, I disagree. I actually think so. We've sold 43 manual Cayennes. One of the funny things about this is there were 3 different manual Cayennes. Okay.
Yeah, there were.
There was the
Let's go
first gen V6,
which we sold one of last week.
There was the first gen GTS with a V8, and then there was the third gen V6. There was the only 3 manual Cayennes. They never did a diesel. They never did turbo. There's a lot of speculation. Never happened.
And they made about 3.
They're not a lot of
total.
The funny thing, I think, is the first gen V6, go back up to the top, they are just used cars. They sell for very little. We sold this one for $7,900.
Yeah. Tough.
It's just a used car. The market does not appreciate it. The first gen V8s, the GTS manual, they bring some money, but most of those have really been miled up at this point.
With that one. But our second highest manual Cayenne result is first gen GTS at 50.
Probably a lower mile car, I imagine. Probably 69,000 miles. That's getting hard to find. A lot of these are now at 150,000
Cool
miles, badly modded, et cetera. This was a nice one.
Yeah.
Honestly, you know what? Go back. That one, which I think is that Umber? No, that was Auburn Metallic.
Auburn.
That was a deal.
At this point, that is a deal.
But
at the time, that was close to like the record auction.
Yeah,
result.
it was a good number. I actually, and these are the big, the 21s.
Mm-hmm.
I actually really think that sale can be replicated.
Wow.
There are manual Cayennes out there. I know this from my time working at Porsche. There are manual Cayennes out there with more unusual builds than this one. The question is, what happened to them? And will the person ever sell? And does it have 500,000 miles on it?
Right.
You know, has it been badly modded or crashed or whatever?
So if you know someone with a stock Peridot green manual Cayenne,
They would, yeah, I guess Peridot could have been. You could have done paint to sample on it. Although I don't know if they offered paint to sample back then. But the closest you could get, there are probably yellow ones. There are, because that was a standard color,
Saffron?
sand yellow.
sand yellow.
There are greens, certainly. There are some unusual ones out there. So, you know,
It's clearly a rising tide situation
rising tide.
with some big waves.
Big sale, but legitimate sale, legitimate seller
Yeah.
who's a legit guy and
Exactly.
sells a bunch of stuff, legit buyer, paid for it. Just a crazy thing. This is not that unusual.
No.
It obviously,
I mean,
for a
it
manual
is. It's
Cayenne, it
special.
is.
It
but it's
requires
not that
having
unusual.
the right people in the
It's
right
not
room.
that unusual for a very special, you'll never find another type of car to get more money than it ought to. And I was actually kind of surprised by the response from people. Anybody who's really shocked by this probably isn't paying that close of attention to auction results. We are. We watch our site. We watch
Yep.
the other sites. We see this happen sometimes.
Ultimately, as I've always said, the beauty of an auction is all it takes are two people who really want it, and you end up with a bidding war that has 150 bids. And they were going up by $500 increments. The
long
one guy tried to
time.
fake him out and said, "I'm done," and then bam, hit him with another bid. It was so good to watch.
It was good quality programming.
It was.
And this is a special car. It really is. These are unusual. And people pay for unusual, especially in the Porsche world. I've always said this. The Porsche world, if we're being honest with ourselves, the cars are not really all that different. And so when you get a car that has some specifically, this is why they get so into the stitching and the leather and the colors, because the cars are not really all that different. And when you get a car that has some distinguishing features like this, it's going to have a big effect. It just is. So there you go. Kenan, did you think about buying it?
Absolutely. Well, not at that number.
I did. When it came across, I saw his reserve and I know him, and I thought about texting him and being like, "Hey man, I think you're strong. Like I'll give you 35." I legit thought about that. Like it'd be fun to have this car and 35. I was hoping that would do it.
Yeah. I'm glad
Turns
he
out.
held out. Turns out, don't
Just
accept
90
offers
off,
from your
that's
friends.
all.
I was
Sell it at auction.
100 short.
That's okay. It happens, right?
Are you ready for your next cool car? Sell your enthusiast car on Cars and Bids. Trading in your car to dealers means you aren't getting market value for your car, leaving you with less cash for your next fun car. Just look at our recent sales of these cool cars compared to current trade-in value. This is a trade-in offer, and this was the Cars and Bids result. This is a trade-in offer, and this was the Cars and Bids result. This is the trade-in offer, and this is the Cars and Bids result. Get started now on carsandbids.com. Sell on Cars and Bids and join the best community to sell your enthusiast car.